Hi, this is Sarah, the Stitchin' Mommy, and I'm here for a planning video for 2026. Never mind that this planner says 25. I received this planner as a gift in like January, February this year, and I already was knee deep in a planner that I was using. So, but it's like an embroidered cover, which is super fun. So I'm like, I have to use this. So I bought some stickers to convert this to 2026. It's not great, it's not professional, but it works, and I can use this pretty planner. So it's not all the way updated yet either. So as we go through, I'm just going to show you some of the notes I've made so far. It doesn't really have anything to do with the numbers on the pages, so it's inconsequential. But just so you know, yes, I'm aware it's not finished. Overall, my stitching plans for 2026 will be pretty straightforward. It's going to be the year of the alphabet for me. I got this idea from Charlene over at Flights of Fancy Stitchers because it's 2026 and there's 26 letters in the alphabet. So let's celebrate all things alphabet. And so I will be organizing my main projects alphabetically and working on them through the year alphabetically. So I think that's my nod to that. And there'll be one other thing in January that'll be a nod to that too. So my main plan, I guess I'll show you maybe a month spread. My main plan for my main projects. This year I have 2-day rotations on my gift stitches, and I have 4 gift stitches right now that I want to get progress on. I have deadlines for a couple of them, and I would like to get more progress on them, have them done sooner than more progress than I'm able to get done now. So currently my Monday, Tuesday slot is my gift stitch slot, and each one gets a 2-day rotation because there's 4 of them, and I just rotate them throughout the month. So from month to month. So that slot 1 is always a particular one every month. In 2026, I'm going to up that to 3 days a week. So I'll do my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday will be project 1, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday will be project 2, and I'll rotate through them like that with 3 days a week or 3 days per month instead of 2, in hopes that I can get especially my kids' pieces done by their high school graduations, which is their ultimate goal. So I also have been currently in 2025 working on all of my projects on my WIP list, which is significant. It's over 100. I've been trying to make sure I touch everything at least once. So a lot of things are in games, or they're in travel stitching, or they're in the gift stitches, or they're in various things that I'm doing. So if they're in something like that, they don't need to be touched, but I've been giving them a single day, either a Friday or a Saturday, throughout this year. And I've had seasonal Sundays, a different piece per month of all the Sundays in that month. And then my Wednesday, Thursday slots this month have been WIPGO. This year have been WIPGO pieces. So I had like 4 days on one piece, 4 days on another piece because there's usually 2 calls per month for WIPGO, which is a Jessie Marie Does Stuff game. And those were focused on a finished pieces. I don't have that many of them left that are quickly finishable. And I have other ways of tackling those this coming year. So WIPGO is going to be different this year. I thought for a long time I wasn't going to do WIPGO, but I'm going to do it. Just not for my main pieces. So I now have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday slotted out for gift stitches. I still have Sundays free. I'm going to eliminate seasonal Sunday, and I have Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I'm going to do 2-day rotations now on everything in my WIP list. So I'm going to have a Thursday, Friday slot, and a Saturday, Sunday slot. And I'm literally just going to go down my list. I'm going to alphabetize my list and plug them in. Eventually, at the very end of the year, I can figure out what's what, and I'll write them in my planner. I can't do that yet because I still have things I'm planning to finish here at the end of 2025. So I want to make sure my alphabetical list is accurate in case I finish more than I am hoping or less than I'm hoping or whatever. So I want to have that list finalized before I write them in here. But I'm going to have 2-day rotations on everything. I think, so there's 52 weeks in a year. Times 2, because there's 2 rotations per week. That's 104 projects. I have more than 104 projects, unfortunately. Fortunately for the variety, but unfortunately for the planning. So things like my gift stitches will not have a rotation in my 2-day rotation alphabetized list thing, because they're already getting a lot of time. If I still need to cut down on how many projects are in this list to get it down to 104, I can take out things that I'm planning to give more significant progress on with my daily 30 challenges, which will be different every month. So I'm hoping, I haven't done all the math yet because I still, again, want to finish a few more things before the end of the year. So I'm hoping that I can get that list down for my Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday kind of pieces, 2-day rotation pieces, down to 104 or less, because I do have a couple things I want to start in the middle of the year this coming year, and they could use a 2-day rotation. They might end up in my daily 30 plans because I don't have room in my 2-day rotation, but we'll wait and see. I'm not exactly sure how many projects are on my list at this point, so that's why it's a little iffy. So that's the basic gist of my main evening stitching. Like, it's going to be pretty basic. It'll be gift stitches and then 2-day rotations. So basically I'll have 3 projects a week that will be main projects for the week. And I like that. So I think that'll be good. What's going to keep things interesting throughout the year is the daily 30 element, which I often have a little chunk in the afternoon after I've picked up the kids, before I have to start cooking dinner, that I have a little bit of time. And so I like to sneak in my daily 30 project in there. It doesn't always happen. Life happens sometimes. But that's my ideal goal. I can squeeze my 30 minutes in there on something else that's not my main piece for the month. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the fun stuff, games, challenges, specific themes of projects to go along with what the Flosstube world is doing. That will all be addressed in my daily 30 categories. So I'll go through now what each month's daily 30 category is, because I've been brainstorming these for a while and I'm pretty happy with where I've settled. I'm mostly settled on all of these things. So January is Bringo. Magazine Monthly Challenge cross stitch group on Facebook has 3 bingo games and a year now, and I like to play them. They're very fun. Their goals are an hour or 100 stitches per square. So I'm not playing officially, but I'm using them. I'm going to use them as my daily 30 prompts for the first 25 days of each of those months when they do it. And I believe it's January, May, and September this year. It was April last year, but I think it's going to be May this year. Had the inside scoop. So I'm going to do Bringo for the first 25 days, and I will allow myself this time. Bringo is a prompt-based bingo board where they put prompts out and you pick something in your, whip list that fits a prompt. In the past, I've done Bringo where these are the 10 projects I want to get to in January. Of these 10 projects, which one is my biggest whip? And that goes on the biggest whip spot. It's not necessarily my biggest whip overall, it's the biggest whip of January. So for this year, I'm going to go ahead and try to do the prompts exactly with anything in my whip pile. It doesn't have to be something slotted in for January. It could be anything, which I think will be more fun and a lot of variety potentially. So, and then because there's 6 days at the end of January that there's no Bringo, assuming I stayed caught up on the Bringo prompts as they were coming out, I'll have 6 days to do whatever I want with. So what I'm thinking, I guess there's already 6. So I'll probably do a decision wheel with the 6 projects in my stash that have an alphabet on them. And since there's only 6 and there's 6 days, I'll probably do a decision wheel that's like non-repeating so that everything gets a shot at being worked on. And so English Garden Sampler, Floral Alphabet, Heirloom Stitching Sampler, Sampler of Floor, To Everything is Season Sampler, and Cat Alphabet, which is full coverage. They all have alphabets. That's literally all the ones I could think of in my stash of over 100 whips that have alphabets on them. Clearly that's not something I do a lot. I also am thinking of starting Garden of Quilts sometime in January, so I might put that in my Bringo board somewhere, especially if they have a New Start square. That would be a perfect one for that. And maybe any other prompts that might call for something related to that. So then we have January. My daily 30 for January is going to be full coverage February related, which is something that Colette, the highway stitcher, kind of came up with. And so every February, I try to do something with full coverage February. So what I'm going to do, I have like 45 full coverage whips, active started whips. I won't get to them all in the 28 days in February, but I'm thinking of just doing a decision wheel with all of them on it, spinning it. It can repeat if it wants to, and just go for it and see what comes up, and just work on the random ones throughout the month for full coverage February. I think that could be fun. The other option was to limit it to like 10 projects or something, but it's like, well, it might be fun to just no holds barred, do whatever, you know. So I think that's what I'm leaning towards now. And also, I am leaning towards, if you've noticed, I'm leaning towards decision wheels this year versus temperature stitching. I did that last year, or this current year, 2025. I've done a lot of temperature stitching, but I believe that's because I didn't do a temperature project this year like I usually do. I did my temperature pattern for 2025 was the temperature specialty stitches design, and I did it all at once with an old year. So I wasn't working on it throughout the year like I usually do. So I kind of felt like picking projects using the temperatures was kind of a way to scratch that itch and still play with temperatures throughout the year. But I will likely be doing another temperature project in 2026, so that itch won't need to be scratched. I can just go ahead and do some spinning wheels, which doesn't limit the numbers. Then I can have 45 on a wheel. They don't have to all be assigned to a digit of the temperature. There's other months that have like 6 things or 5 things or whatever, and it can work that way without having to be evenly distributed amongst the temperatures. So I'm going to go with wheels this year instead, for the most part. March is going to be Mirabilia March. So I'm going to do, again, all of my Mirabilias on a decision wheel and spin it every day in March and do 30 minutes. And probably repeating is okay. So I think I can't remember how many I have. I think it's more than 20. I'm not positive. I have a lot of fancy ladies. It doesn't necessarily mean they're all Mirabilias though, because I have Lavender and Lace, Nora Corbett, Butternut Road, Joan Elliott. So I'm just doing Mirabilias in this one, because that's the one that alliterates the nicest. I can't remember how many are on that list, but that'll be fun to do in March. In April, because Easter is in April, I'm going to do a decision wheel with all of my cross projects. So I have 4 seasonal crosses: fall, winter, spring, summer, floral crosses I got at Cooler Design Studio. But I also have 2 full coverage projects that are crosses, or one that's full coverage, no background. So I have the Butterfly Rose Cross. That's a full coverage, no background. And then He Is Risen, which I'm doing the whole thing. Half stitch background, full cross, foreground. So all 6 of those could use some attention. So I'm going to spin a wheel and work on those for daily 30 throughout the month of April, which I think would be fun. And then May, I thought could be fun. This is also Springo. They moved Springo from April to May. This is another Magazine Monthly Challenge group game. So Springo will be the first 25 days. Last year, they had Springo where you chose 7 different whips to go along with the letters SPRINGO. I might do that with my former Mania start. So I was thinking originally my decision wheel would be anything that had been started in May previously, because May used to be a big month for Stitch Mania, where you start something every day, or every day for the first, if it's going to be 26, you started something new every day until 1 through 26. It started in 2015, I believe. So it was the first 15 days in May. And then it's gone all sorts of directions since then. I have several things started in May because of that. So I've done like 4 or 5 starts in May all at once, and different things, like one every week kind of thing. I did that a few different years. So if something was a Mania start in the past, I was going to do a wheel spin for that one for daily 30. Because Spring goes here, I might take 7 of my former Mania starts and attach them to the Springo board, and then do the decision wheel for the rest of the month. So I think I'll do it that way with the same types of projects. Then June, this is a new one that I just came up with this past weekend. I had so much fun on my stitching shelf by Amy Stewart, Heaven and Earth Designs, that I want to do a whole month of Daily 30 with stitching shelf. So what I'm going to put on my wheel is each of the seasons will get a spot on the wheel. And I also thought it might be fun to have like some of the most used colors, like black I think is the most used color, and have at least black, maybe the next, 1 or 2 more after that. I don't know how many total I want on my decision wheel, but it could be fun to like do 30 minutes of black or 30 minutes of spring, or, have the wheel come up with different things, but all that project, and have the wheel select what part of the project I work on for my Daily 30. So I thought that could be fun. July is going to be the 250th anniversary of the United States. So I'm going to work on my Quaker flag by Vivsters the whole month for Daily 30. However, it's also Tour de France, and since it's a single project the whole time, I thought it could still be fun to work on Tour de France within the month of July. And on those days, the 4th through the 26th, I will stitch the number of stitches on Quaker flag that they're biking in the Tour de France of the kilometers. So I'll probably do that. If there's a rest day or the days that are outside of the Tour de France, I will do possibly temperature high-low number of stitches. So add the high and the low together to get my stitch count for the day. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards because it's all one piece. There's only 3 colors. So there's not really ways to jump around like on the stitching shelf. So I think that's what I'm going to do for Quaker flag and see how much I can get done in the month of July. That'll be fun. August, I started Arbitrary August several years back, and I haven't always done it, but I thought I'd do it again this year. And what I thought this year, the wheel could include everything on my WIP list that isn't already specifically assigned a theme in the month, in a different month. So like no full coverage, or no mirabilias, or no alphabet samplers, things like that. But everything else, I have the fancy ladies that are not mirabilias. I have the full coverage, no background. I have soda stitch, or, whatever. That's just kind of a random project. That will all be on my Arbitrary August Daily 30, spin a wheel, work on it throughout the month of August. I think that'll be fun. And it'll be another wheel that's, a lot of these wheels will be repeats allowed. Except for that one in January where there's only 6 days and there's 6 projects. I think that one I'll probably have a no repeat, but everything else probably repeats allowed. And then you'll notice here Gridiron Grind starts back up. I'm doing that this year and I'm really enjoying it with the Crazy Wonderful Owl family as my one piece for that to go along with the Denver Broncos, American football. Stitching, and then the preseason starts in August, regular season starts in September, postseason starts in January. So what I'm going to do, probably again, 5 stitches per point during preseason in August, and then starting in September when the regular season starts, 10 stitches per point, assuming or if they make the playoffs, it'll be 20 stitches per point in the games during those games, and then if they make it to the Super Bowl, it'll be 50 stitches per point in the Super Bowl, which is in early February. So we'll see. I also have, you'll notice here at the beginning, I had these TMU marks. That's my college. I'm currently doing the basketball stitching, 1 stitch per point whenever they have a basketball game. And that's continuing on the season that we're on right now is continuing into January. And through March. And so I'll probably do that again, potentially still with He Is Risen, because it's been working really well. And it's a nice way to get a lot of stitches on that project. So I'll probably stick with both of those games as well next year. September, I thought would be a fun one for my decision wheel to be former birthday starts. So in addition to lots of starts happening in May, September has had a lot of starts because it's my birthday month. It is also, I don't see it written here. But it's usually also AB Singo in Daily 30, or in the Magazine Monthly Challenge cross-stitch group. So I will probably also do AB Singo similar to Springo, where I'll pick the same former birthday starts to try to populate the AB Singo board, and then do Daily 30 for the rest of the month, that kind of thing, with a decision wheel. So I will likely be starting Glass Castle for my birthday with Leanne Stitches here in the month of September, and I'll also may do the Great British Baking Show. I'm not sure because it kind of got out of control this year and I got behind on it and it was too much for me. But I'm thinking maybe if I choose projects that are at the top of my list for least amount of stitches remaining in Pattern Keeper, so I'm wanting to try to get them done anyways, and then I have low stitch goals for each of the things that the contestants do, then maybe it'll be a little more manageable to try to get it done than what I did this year, which is a length of floss, which can be varying amounts of time depending on the project, and it was a little bit overwhelming. So, and they're all my oldest whips, which are 20 to 30 years old for a reason. So I think something like this, make it a little simpler, a little easier to work on, might be better. So I might still try to play the baking show again when it comes back next year, just a little bit differently than I did this year. October, I might go ahead and do the Janet Stever produce patterns that I did this October for Daily 30 temperature stitching. They're from Pain Free Crafts, but they were retired, so they're no longer available, but there's 6 of them. And this year, doing it temperature style, I had 2 numbers assigned to some of the projects and 1 number assigned to a couple of them. And I really noticed, that those ones that had only 1 number really didn't get called that often, which, makes sense. So I think this year having a decision wheel will be helpful. I can have all 6 of them evenly distributed on the decision wheel, and they'll hopefully get a little bit more even distribution to do a Daily 30 with those produce patterns again in October. I think that'd be fun. November and December don't have as much specifics laid out yet because I will likely be doing Focus for a Finish related things in November and December. So depending on how close things are, I could do monogamous Daily 30 with things that I just want to start chipping away at to get done and just see how many I can get through. Or I can have a wheel spin or some other way to put like the things with the least amount of stitches in Pattern Keeper and spin that to have my Focus for a Finish Daily 30 be that. I'm not sure. So I'm going to wait until it gets closer to the end of the year and I kind of see what I want to do, because usually the end of the year, I am really interested in trying to get stuff finished. And so that's, I'm leaving those a little bit more open-ended because I don't know exactly how I want to tackle that. And it depends on what I have close to a finish at that point, which I don't know yet because it's a whole year away. And so I think December, looks the same on that. So I think that's everything really for my main days of stitching. I've got my gift stitches. I've got 2 2-day rotations on alphabetically through my whip list for my main projects. And then my Daily 30 is going to kind of change every month with the different themes and different games and stuff. So I think that'll be fun. Something I thought I would try this year is something related to a game in Full Coverage Fanatics. They came up with a game where you kind of stitch through some of the longest books with the number of words in books. And I thought, you know what? I have 0 idea how many stitches I stitch in a year. Now that a lot of things are in Pattern Keeper, I could probably go back and add them all up, but I just haven't ever done that. So I think it'll be fun to start fresh with the new year. And once a week before I film my videos every week, I'll go in and add up the stitches, because I have these spreads, but then when I actually stitch, I have my have my spreads that where I'll actually track what I did. And on these pages, I write the number of stitches I completed. So if something's in Pattern Keeper, I write down how many stitches I did. I'm not going to count stitches on non-Pattern Keeper stuff. That's just not what I'm interested in doing. But if it's in Pattern Keeper, I write it down anyways, so I can add it up once a week and keep a running tally of my stitches for the year and see if I can stitch my way through Anne of Green Gables in the year 2026. If I finish Anne of Green Gables, because honestly, I have no idea how close to 97,000 I would get if I'm really far under or really far over. I don't have any idea. If I finish it, I'll just pick another book, maybe Pride and Prejudice. That's another one I really like, to see how far I can get through that one. So we'll see. But I think that'll be fun to start tracking it, to see my yearly total of stitches in Pattern Keeper. So we'll see. And then, as I've mentioned in my update videos recently, going forward for travel stitching, I'm going to keep a little seed packet series flower or something similarly small all the time available for quick grab and go, take it to a doctor's appointment kind of stitching. But I'm gonna, because currently, at least for the next couple years, I should have a good amount of wait in the car after school time where I can do slightly more medium-sized projects. So that's what I came up with to tackle, put on my whip go board for this coming year. I'm like, you know what? I can do. So I had started this list, possible travel projects. I can take Pattern Keeper with me in the car for some of these. And so these are things that are kind of on the smaller, medium side. I would like to get them done sooner than later. So eventually I thought, you know what? I could do a whip go. So I went ahead and made a quick whip go board. I already rearranged the numbers and then just went down the list of, these are the dotted ones that I chose. So it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, that kind of thing, in populating my whip go board, and I randomized the numbers. So I have these projects for travel stitching. So every month I'll do half the month on, there's 6 projects represented 4 times each. And so every month I'll do half the month with one project and half the month with the other for my medium-sized travel piece. And yes, I realize the month of July is probably going to get the short end of the stick because I don't have any school pickups in July. There's sometimes vacations, but I don't know when vacations fall. If no vacations happen in July, if they happen in June or whatever, I don't even know. And there's no school, those pieces probably won't get pulled out that month. But it's okay, because these are all just pieces I'd like to get finished sooner rather than later, but they're just somewhat portable. And so it's not the end of the world if I don't get them done this year, or if I miss out on getting very many stitches in them in the month of July. I'm not that worried about it. So this will be my general medium-sized travel piece project. I have Garden of Quilts on there because I do want to start that in January, so that's included, along with my 2 oldest whips in the beginning and antique shoe collection, books of the Bible, my temperature stitch will probably take the place of that one in the car on Sundays, so that one can get its spots on here. Tapestry by Ink Circles is a nice one because all the flosses are in there ready to go. Same with Beachcomber. Beachcomber is a gift stitch on my gift stitching, plans of my main month, but it's really great for a travel stitch. So the months that it gets picked, I might just pull a different, I might actually not, I don't know. I might just pull it and have other gift stitches in here instead of Beachcomber, because possibly this coming year, I should start working on my last letter fairy for one of my nieces, so that could go in the gift spot instead of Beachcomber. I do want Beachcomber done by the beginning of 27, but I think having it in here could be enough to get it done. So, yeah, I'm trying to think if there's something else I wanted to do too. But I'm already working on something for my pastor's wife in the car right now, which hopefully will be done before the end of the year or before her birthday in January at least. So that one won't need to be included because it should already be done. So anyways, that's my plan for WIPGO, which is fun. And then these are a list of some starts I've talked about in my video already. Garden of Quilts will be a New Year, New Start somewhere. Same with the Haid 2026 Stitch Along. And Glass Castle will be in September. Fun Fair Food probably in June. And then Noah's Ark by Teresa Wensler and Unlikely Friends by Pain Free Crafts are just some that have been kind of in the back of my mind as like things I'd like to start sooner rather than later, but I don't have a plan for them. So I just put them down there. I'm trying to think, what did I have in June? That's July. Oh, the stitching shelf. Okay. So yeah, potentially I could take out a couple days of stitching shelf time and work on Fun Fair Food, you know, to start that. Or if I have enough room in my rotation, I can allot a 2-day rotation each to Glass Castle and Fun Fair Food. And they can fit them in the months when I'm planning to start them and just bump their way into my alphabetical listing, even though it's not where they should fall alphabetically. But so anyways, I think that is everything that I'm planning to do in 2026 with regards to stitching. You know, plans are subject to change and flex, but I think I'm pretty happy with the way this is going right now. And I think it gives me enough variety and fun with all the daily 30 things switching every month, but also consistently getting progress on like everything throughout the year, which is always the challenge with so many projects to try to scratch both of those things. Well, and getting finishes is the other thing that's hard to do when you're trying to touch everything. But I'm hoping that by including things in my daily 30 again, or my travel stitching, that I can get some things finished as well. So probably not as many as this year. This year was kind of a crazy year, lots of finishes, but it shouldn't be, it should still get done. I should still finish some things next year. So I think that's everything. If you have any questions, let me know. If I didn't cover something very clearly because I was just on a rabbit trail, you know, let me know and I can try to clarify it. But I hope you have fun however you like to stitch. I know not everybody likes to plan. I enjoy it, and I enjoy deciding ahead of time so that when I'm in the moment getting ready to stitch, I already have decided what to stitch on and I can just pull it out and do it. It's helpful for me. But I know that's not everybody's, you know, favorite way to do it, and that's fine too. But I hope you enjoy your work, your stitching and your crafting and hobbying, however you do it, and have a fun end of year 2025, beginning of 26. Happy stitching. Bye.